Who are y'all? Me? Oh, my name is Ho Phase. This is my boy Trust Issues. Hey, that's alcoholism. What's happening, coach? And that's Don't Care No Mo. What's poppin'?
So I spent several years of my marriage saying, hey, I'm not happy with this. Hey, I need this thing to change. Hey, I can't do this way for the rest of my life. And because our marriage was still mostly good, it was really easy for Derek to not hear those things or to brush it off when I said, hey, I think we should probably do marriage counseling, because that was easier. It was easier to go along with a marriage that was reasonably good than it was to do the really hard work to make it better at that point. And that was fine from Derek's perspective right up until I said, hey, I wasn't kidding, I want a divorce. And then he said, oh, wait, well, let's do marriage counseling. What do you mean you want a divorce? And so then we did do marriage counseling for 6 months, but it turns out at the end of it, I still wanted a divorce. But there was a moment in that process after we separated where obviously he was so sad and so upset. And I was apologizing because you don't want to hurt a person that you love, and I love him. And so that was just terrible in general. But he said something about he was so sorry because he realized now that I had been feeling that way leading up until that moment, and he was just feeling all of it now. That is because Derek is an incredibly secure man who, again, as I said in another video, never makes himself the victim of anything. And so he was able to accurately and wholly self-reflect on that and realize that. But I thought of that when I was doing all this research on divorce, because this is what you do when you're a PhD student for fun, because I found a paragraph in a research article talking about why getting divorced hurts the health and mortality and life satisfaction of men, but women's it actually improves after divorce. So I went back and found it this morning for you. Women are more aware of marital problems and make greater investments in holding a marriage together. Brock, 1983. At the same time, women are more likely to initiate divorce after they accept that their efforts are hopeless. Berneg Allen, 2000, Kalman, Jim Portman, 2006. Because this decision often takes men by surprise, Thomas, 1982, they might become more distressed when their marriage breaks down. Women who initiate divorce might already feel the relief of having terminated an unhappy relationship. These considerations suggest that men and women's health and subjective well-being may adapt on different timescales. Women suffer from the impending end of a marriage already in pre-divorce years, whereas this process is delayed and then possibly more devastating for men. And this is obviously not true for every divorce because this is social science, and so nothing is true in every situation. We can't prove anything. But it's true in enough of them that women are trying, but they're trying when the men aren't noticing. And so then when they leave, the men are devastated because they genuinely didn't realize it was coming. That doesn't mean the women weren't working on it the whole time. They just didn't notice.
Guys, I'm just gonna come out and say it right off the bat. Do not get married, okay? There used to be a time in history, gentlemen, where it was, till death do us part, and we're gonna be together no matter what, through thick and thin. Let me tell you something, guys. These modern women, when things get a little bit difficult, oh no, they're out. They're done. Guys, these relationships that these women are ending, believe me when I say, guys, that these relationships were over a long time ago. Girls end relationships, guys. They end marriages. They end whatever the hell's going on in their life when they have something else ready to go. Guys, I cannot tell you the amount of times I have seen women end relationships, and I know for a fact that they're with another dude within that exact same week, guys. I've literally seen it where these girls are out here, they'll get a divorce from a dude after 20 years, they'll break up after 20 years, and within that same week, they're with a dude, they're with a Chad who hasn't have to do anything. Meanwhile, that dude's been in the relationship the entire time, been in the marriage the entire time, and she's like, oh, not tonight. I don't want to have bedroom fun tonight because, I just feel like crap or I'm tired. But you better believe it, guys, that following week she's out there with the dudes ready to go. Guys, do not get married, okay? Notice how in that woman, the woman, the longer clip right there, she was talking about how they do all the emotional labor. Women put in so much effort and it's so difficult for them. Get out of here, man. On today's episode, gentlemen, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be breaking apart two very interesting articles. One of them, I'm going to pull them up right now, okay? So the first one that we're going to be breaking down here is 3 reasons why women initiate divorce more often than men. And then we're going to take a look at this article right here that says 7 reasons men leave their marriage. So essentially what we're doing, guys, is we're comparing the reasons and the differences between why men leave and why women leave. So why both genders leave. I don't know which order I said that in there. But you know what, guys? This is going to really, it's going to open your eyes a little bit. It's going to show you some disgusting truths, guys, and it's going to be a bit of a rough one. So we're going to start off with this article right here that says 3 reasons why women initiate divorce more often than men. Guys, buckle up. Get ready for this first point. Okay, let's take a look. This first point. Women are more likely to feel held back by the marriage. Women have long-term relationships with men, gentlemen, and these long-term relationships that they choose to be in, because make no mistake, guys, women choose their relationships. I don't care how many times you will see a girl say, oh, I just felt pressured to stay in the relationship. I couldn't leave. And guys, don't believe any of this crap, guys. When they're in college, when they're going through their 20s and they're seeing the bad boys, it is a voluntary decision. When they get married to a dude and they divorce him and they take all of his crap, it is also a voluntary decision, guys. Don't let these girls play you into thinking that, she's the victim. But let's take a look at this. Women are more likely to feel held back by the marriage. The fact is that today, women are working more than they ever have and make up a little over half of the workforce in the United States. However, in many marriages, women are still seen as primarily responsible for domestic duties, despite having more on their plates with their careers. Michael Rosenfeld, an associate professor of sociology at Stanford University and the author of the ASA study, stated, "I think that marriage as an institution has been a little bit slow to catch up with the expectations for gender equality. Wives still take their husbands' surnames and are sometimes pressured to do so. Husbands still expect their wives to do the bulk of the housework and the bulk of the childcare." Gentlemen, I'm just going to make a point on this whole last name thing, okay? We see this quite a lot where girls are like, I'm never going to take a dude's last name. That's disgusting. We're in the year of being progressive, guys. We shouldn't take a man's last name because I don't need no man. Let me tell you something, gentlemen. If you're out here and you're getting married, which, by the way, don't do that if you're a man, okay? You will get screwed over. But if you're out here and you're getting married and your wife does not want to take your surname, you already know what's going to happen. If you go ahead and you get married to that woman, you are running such a high risk of just getting absolutely run over in the divorce courts, you have no idea. Because when a girl doesn't take your name, gentlemen, what that tells me is that she's got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Now, a lot of these modern women, guys, they'll have that regardless. But here's the thing, guys. A girl who, is head over heels with you, she would jump she would be so excited to take your last name because it would be an honor and a privilege. It would be something where she's giddy about. She's like, I'm with this guy. I finally got to lock him down and I get his last name. That's awesome. Right, but a lot of these girls out here, they don't actually like the dudes that they're with. They don't like the dudes that they're getting with. The men that they're choosing to marry to, they're just meal tickets that these girls are going to use. You see what I'm saying, guys? The decisions that women make when they get into long-term relationships are not the same ones that they make, when they're finding men that they're actually attracted to. And that's the huge difference right there, guys. If a girl doesn't want to take your last name, hell, don't get married anyway, but especially don't get married when a girl doesn't want to take your last name, guys, because that should tell you all that you need to know. But yeah, back on this point, women are more likely to feel held back by the marriage. What's more is that other studies have shown that when both parties are in a marriage, are employed full-time, the woman in the relationship still does more housework than the men in the relationship. A 2019 report from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics showed that on an average day in 2018, 20% of men did housework such as cleaning or laundry, compared with 49% of women. What this tells us is that there is an inequality in the average household when it comes to domestic duties and labor among men and women. For married parties who have at least similar responsibilities from a full-time career, it is still women who are doing more of the work around the home as well. I would make the argument that men are, even in these situations where they have similar responsibilities, I would wager that the men are working more. Okay, because on average, guys, men work more than women, especially in marriages, because women, when they choose dudes to get married to, they're not choosing the broke guys. They're not choosing the guy with no career. No, see, that's, guys, when women get married, you notice this all the time as they go into their 30s, guys. What do they look for? Like clockwork. Oh, I need stability. I need a man who's going to be there no matter what, a guy who's going to take care of me. These sorts of things start to become important to women, guys, because they're looking for the workhorse man. That's who they're looking for. They're not looking for someone to love or care for, guys. They're looking for a laborer. Okay, so it doesn't surprise me that women are doing more domestic duties because, yeah, the dude's typically working more. Notice here, guys, how they get away with the language of at least similar responsibilities. Yeah, here's the thing. Dudes are generally working more. And I guarantee you guys, in these similar responsibilities, it would still be the men are on average working more than the women. So, of course, you're doing more housework. Like, get out of here. Psychological distress. In addition, women often find that their husbands are not supportive when they are highly successful in their careers. In a 2019 study published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin, which included over 6,000 American heterosexual couples over 15 years, many men experienced psychological distress if their wives made more than 40% of the household income in a marriage. So if a woman has high expectations and responsibilities from her career, high expectations and responsibilities at home, and does not have support from her husband on a career advancement, she may not find the marriage to be in her best interest anymore. Let me correct this for you, gentlemen. If a woman is earning more than a man in a marriage, that marriage will typically not last. I mean, marriages don't last anyway, but girls do not like to be with men who they earn more money than. You see, this thing right here of, dudes not liking when their girls earn more, you know who doesn't like this even more, guys? It's the women. The women absolutely hate it. Guys, let me tell you something. If you're a dude, right, and, you go out, people will look, if you're out with a girl, right, and you go on like a dinner date or something like that, and you guys go up to the end and you go to pay, and the girl leads the interaction and she pays the bill, people are going to look at you funny. They're like, oh, isn't the dude paying? I thought that the dude was paying. You know what I mean? Girls have this expectation that dudes lead. Okay, and here's the thing, guys. I don't have a problem with that. I personally couldn't give a crap, right? Like, I don't particularly care. If anything, it makes, like, if you're a dude who's dating, it's like, good, you get to choose where to eat. You know what I mean? But these girls have a serious issue. I would argue it's not so much the men that have an issue, although a lot of them obviously, would find it concerning, I guess. But, women have it a lot. They care a lot more when their man is earning less money, let me tell you. Women, what does this even mean, man? Women often take on more of the emotional burden. Disgusting language. Absolutely disgusting language. You know why, guys? Because this is such a moving, ambiguous target that it essentially means nothing. But let's take a read. Communication is key in any marriage, but often an area where many couples struggle. Generally, men are not taught how they can communicate and process emotions. As a result, women in marriages find they often will take on more of the emotional responsibilities. In some cases, this may include being the sole emotional support system for the entire family. Over time, this does take a toll on a person, mentally, physically, and certainly emotionally. Without emotional support from husbands, wives are often left feeling alone and without a source of support within the marriage. Yeah, guys, these girls, they're just taking on so much of the emotional burden in relationships. I love, language like that, guys, is just a fantastic way to say I do things without actually doing anything. That's a fantastic way of saying it. Is going, you know what, guys, I take on the emotional responsibility. Like, guys, we might as well, I tell you what, man, when I make these videos, I should just like bring out a dictionary, right? And we'll all just share it around with each other of words that essentially mean nothing, but sound like we're doing absolutely everything. You know what I mean? It's so... These people have no idea what words mean. Guys, there's a video that's coming out probably after this one, a very unstructured video that I did right before this one, but it's coming out after because I don't like it. So, and I just talked about, guys, A lot of these girls, they don't even know what words mean. Okay, they absolutely do not. You got dudes out here working a 9 to 5, working super hard, paying the bills, doing everything for these girls, and they're complaining about the fact that they have to do housework and care for kids. It's like, bro, of course you do. The guy's literally paying your bills for you. Hey, you want to go out there? You want to be a boss ass babe and you want to work these hours? Enjoy it. Have fun out there. We'll see how you go. We'll see you in 20 years and see how that fared for you. But you know what, guys? A lot of these girls, they want an out. They want a dude to come along and take care of them. But guys, we're not even into the second article yet. We have a few more points to go over here before we, check out why men are leaving, okay? Women no longer tolerate consistent, unacceptable behavior. At a point in history, women did not work as much as today. Because of this, wives would rely more so on their husbands for financial security, even at the expense of A-word and negligent behavior. Today, this is not the case as much. As a result, women are not willing to put up with consistent, unacceptable behavior from their husbands like before. Dory Schwartz, a divorce mediator and coach, says, today's modern woman is more unlikely to put up with infidelity. Once the honeymoon period is over, some men drastically change their behavior from romantic to controlling and emotionally A-word. Unfortunately, this happens in many marriages and women don't want to take it anymore. I would like to correct this a little bit, guys. Women no longer tolerate consistent, unacceptable behavior. That's some BS. You see, the reason why this happens, okay, I want you guys to forget a moment, the history of how this previously worked in insofar as money and stuff like that. Girls who get to 30 years of age, they will sell you this exact line right here. I have been through so much, and I no longer tolerate unacceptable behavior. What it really comes down to, guys, is these girls are going out here, they're getting with a whole bunch of dudes, they're getting with dudes who are not going to give them a relationship, who don't care about seeing them, who are only going to see them for 20 minutes at a time. And these girls rock around to 30 and 40 years of age, guys, and they say the exact same line, which was in that article right there. Which is, I'm not going to put up with bad behavior anymore, quote unquote bad behavior, because I've learned my worth. I'm ready for a man that's going to come and take care of me. I'm ready to be swept off my feet. Madam, you could have been swept off your feet 20 years ago, but you choose to wait until you're 40 years of age to get a quote unquote real man. Okay, I understand that's a little bit different to the point that they were making about, previous times with the money differentials, guys, where oftentimes the woman was far more reliant on the husband, guys. But in a contemporary sense, girls are using this language in a much different effect, guys, where they say, you know what? I don't want to tolerate bad behavior from men anymore because I'm done with the chads. As far as I'm concerned, you can stay out there with the chads. You can stay out there on the streets and we'll see how you go. Conclusion. While each relationship is unique in its own way, there are clearly some commonalities on the reasons why women tend to initiate divorce more often than men. Now, there are certainly other reasons why people choose to file for divorce, but these are some of the most common for women based on research and findings. At the end of the day, you deserve happiness in life and in your marriage, but sometimes you just need out. If this is you, we are here to help. Yes, guys, start your divorce today. Go be a boss babe, queen, and leave your dirty husband. Now, guys, let's talk about a couple of points here before we get into the dude's article, okay? So, to recap, the reasons why women initiate divorce. They feel like they are better than dudes because they feel held back by the man, and they take on more of the emotional burden, which essentially means nothing, okay? Yeah... Girls take on more of an emotional burden, guys, and they feel weighed down by their man, and that's why they're leaving marriage. Okay, so that's the girls' portion. Now, guys, let's get into the real interesting part. Why do men leave marriages? Let's take a look at this. Let's just go through the points, and then we'll kind of go through them one at a time. They don't feel appreciated. So let's just take a moment, guys, before we even jump in, to compare the first points between the man's and the woman's article. Why do men leave marriages? Because they don't feel appreciated. Why do girls leave marriages? Because they feel held back. I mean, do I need to say any more, guys? Like, do I even really need to comment on this anymore? It's so disgusting, guys. Women feel held back by men that they get married to. Guys just want to feel appreciated. Can we acknowledge how messed up that is? Women are out here, guys, let me just put it to you simply. Women are using marriage against men. Don't get married, okay? But let's jump into this. Men want to feel and express the love that they have for their spouses, but when a husband feels underappreciated by the whole family, he's more likely to show resentment than love, said Alexandra H. Solomon, a psychologist at the Family Institute of Northwestern University. Besides connecting in different ways, one of the biggest requirements for marriage is recognizing that your connection is very much about the mundane, figuring out who is going to drive carpool and how the mortgage will be paid and which of you is heading out to get more toilet paper. She said that men and women who aren't appreciated and feel disillusioned by the realities of their marriage are at risk of divorce. Yeah, it's almost like, guys, isn't that crazy, right? It's almost like men don't like being treated like crap. Wow, I know, such a crazy concept to have in the year 2022, guys. All these girls going around here. Like I said, guys, there's going to be a video released after this one, and I'm releasing it after this one because I don't like it as much. It was just like an absolute rant that I did. It was all over the shop, right? And you know, we talked about a whole bunch of different things in there, guys. But, you know, one of the things that I think I touched on at least is the fact that, you know, dudes don't want to go out to this 9-to-5 work week, come home, and then feel underappreciated by their wives and their family, guys. You know, and this applies to relationships as well, whether or not the dude's married. Like, I know we got a lot of situations where dudes are taking care of their long-term girlfriends. It doesn't even have to be a wife, guys. But, you know, it's not hard to keep men happy. You know, like that's the point that I made in the video that's coming up after this, right? Is like, it really doesn't take a lot to make dudes happy, right? Just look halfway decent, don't be a pain in the neck, and you know, show that you actually appreciate the guy. It's really, guys typically don't ask for much more than that, gentlemen. And I know we got dudes who require different things in relationships, right? A lot of you would maybe disagree with that, but I think in general, guys, it's really not hard to please men. You know, we're not out here like, oh, you know what, she's got to do X, Y, she's got to do all this crap for me, or else I hate her. It's like, it's not really like that. But let me tell you something, guys. The demands that women have for men in comparison are so unrealistic, guys. It is just so insane. You know, we've all heard it before, guys. 6 figures, 6 feet, all that jazz. But let's continue with this article right here because there's a few more points to get into. They're at odds with their spouse over spending. Many men who come to couples therapy are often disgruntled about their partner's poor financial decisions, said F. Diane Barth, a psychotherapist and the author of Psychology Today blog Off the Couch. That's especially true if the husband is the higher earner in the household. When I hear things like, my spouse spends all the money that we make, that's often beneath that complaint is the feeling that his spouse takes it for granted, she said. The underlying feeling for most of these guys is that this would be okay if only their spouse would acknowledge it and say thank you once in a while. Yeah, so let's look at this, okay? Guys are being underappreciated and their money is essentially being stolen, right? And I want to take a moment here, guys. Like I haven't, you know, here's a little bit of thought I had right here, okay? So we're looking at a psychotherapist here, and we're looking at a psychologist. Let's go into the other article and what we're talking about. Who are the people in here? I swear, man, it was like sociologists, right? They're in any case, like if you look at the angle of this, it's we are here to help you through your divorce versus psychotherapists. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't that paint a bit of a picture for you, gentlemen? But anyway. Next thing, someone cheated. Infidelity is often brought up as the crisis that led to filing, but the marital problems are usually much bigger than that, Borrello said. When a man leaves his marriage because of infidelity, it's almost impossible to know how much of the decision can be chalked up to the affair and how much should be attributed to other factors in the relationship. It's unlikely that the affair occurred in a very happy marriage. Number 4, they don't have anything in common with their spouse anymore. People change. It's troubling. Then, when men expect the partner they married 10 years ago to be the same person she was on their wedding day, Barth said, the reality is, if you want to stay married, you have to grow together or you run the risk of growing apart. I often hear men say we don't share any interests anymore. He wants to go snorkeling in the Caribbean for a vacation, but his wife wants to go to a luxury hotel in Paris. He would like to go to the movies, but they can't find any that they agree on. These apparently mundane, insignificant differences contribute to a sense of no longer being respected, loved, or on the same wavelength as your spouse. Again, guys, something to add here. You know, this is actually a lot more severe than I think that the article outlines there, guys, because here's the thing. This is the common story. This is a common situation of many men who go out there and get married. How many times have you heard this? And this goes for relationships as well, okay? But more specifically, generally with marriage. How many times have you guys heard a guy will go out there He'll meet a girl, she's fantastic, she treats him well, she cooks for him, right? You know, they get along fantastic, there's great chemistry, the bedroom fun is fantastic, whatever, right? They're a fantastic match. And then the moment that he puts the ring on her finger, he gets a different person entirely. How many guys? Can I get a raise of hands? Who in the comments has seen that? Who in the comments has experienced that? Whether it be with your girlfriend, whether it be with your wife, whatever. Where over time, guys, there's just a sharp drop off as soon as you as the man give your commitment, right? Because now, guys, once she has that ring, all the crazy can come out. Guys, yesterday we did a video on a woman who, I think it was titled something like, you know, she couldn't lock down chat is basically what it was. You can go back to yesterday's videos and very easily find it. But basically, the woman was like, you know, I didn't want to tell this guy off because, you know, this guy that she was seeing basically had a lot of girlfriends. And she said, I didn't want to tell him off for this because I believe that people should be able to, you know, go out and have friends and whatever the case may be. The thing is, guys, the reason why she didn't tell off that dude and say, oh, you know, you're not allowed to have female friends is because she had nothing to work with. They had no relationship. You see, the thing is, guys, is these girls will hold in their crazy until you've given up some commitment, and then they'll let the crazy go out. And the level of severity that a lot of times these girls show in terms of craziness is directly proportional to the amount of commitment that you give them, right? And so, for example, marriage being one of the largest commitments that you can give a woman, that is why when you marry a woman, guys, that's when you'll notice some really messed up stuff happening, because now she's got you. Now there is no recourse for you. That's the thing about marriage, guys. I want you to understand this, okay? If you get nothing else from this video, guys, is that when you get married to a woman, there is almost no recourse for you as a man. And that's just the truth of it, guys. You essentially lose your rights. You lose your rights to your possessions. Oftentimes, you lose your rights to your kids, gentlemen. And, you know, the family law courts, as we all know, are not particularly favorable as men, right? For men, excuse me. As we all know, guys, you know, the kids are typically mother knows best, and all it takes is a little bit of I felt unsafe, and before you know it, the guy hasn't got kids anymore. Absolutely disgusting. But let's continue with the article and wrap up today's episode, gentlemen. They feel inadequate. Most unhappy men who agree to go to couples therapy feel inadequate in their marriage, Solomon said. When men act out, cheat, yell, or try to control their partners, for instance, what's usually driving that behavior is a deep fear that they are not measuring up to their partner's eyes, she said. Then, couples get caught up in a negative cycle. She feels so alone she criticizes. The more she criticizes, the more he feels inadequate. The more he feels inadequate, the more he turns away from the marriage and gets lost in a self-destructive and relationship-destructive behavior. It's a painful cycle. Let's look at point number 6. Bedroom fun is lackluster or totally non-existent. When a man complains about his lacking bedroom fun life, the underlying concern is usually that his spouse no longer finds him physically attractive, Barth said. The unspoken fear for a man is that he's no longer attractive. She said this feeling, which often goes unrecognized by the man himself, is usually lying beneath the surface of the couple's bedroom fun problems, even when he's the one doing the rejecting. Guys, like, I have a little bit of a different opinion on this, okay? I don't think that, you know, a lot of dudes, like, there are dudes out here, man, who don't go to the gym, you know, who eat Cheetos all day, and they don't care about being attractive or not. They personally don't care. There's a lot of dudes who don't really give a crap about that. I personally think that, you know, men should be in the gym. I think it's great for your health, and I strongly encourage you guys to be in the gym yourself. It's one of the best things that a dude can do, okay? If you make a routine out of it, it could truly help you. But that being said, a lot of guys are out here, you know, they don't care if they're attractive or not. But let me tell you something. If a dude is in a relationship with a girl and there's no physical intimacy, that sucks for the dude. It totally does. And this is what women will do, guys, is they'll act all fun and like sweet and flowers in the beginning, and then they'll withdraw the bedroom fun once that they have the commitment. And then, guys, like, I'm not saying that cheating is right at all. Don't get it twisted. That's not what I'm saying. Infidelity is some scummy behavior. When men cheat, it's not for the same reason that women cheat, okay? A lot of men in marriages cheat because they have no physical intimacy at all. Now, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying that that's what the situation is. And, you know, these girls act surprised when their husbands go out and find another girl. Meanwhile, you're not even close to a wife or a girlfriend, okay? But we're going to read the last point before we wrap up today's episode and kind of summarize some of the points here. 7, they don't feel their needs are being recognized or validated. When a marriage hits a rough patch, what's needed most, even more than problem solving, is empathy, Solomon said. When a husband suspects his partner cares very little about his well-being and how he's affected by their marriage problems, he's likely to grow disillusioned. Unless the couple has the opportunity to re-establish an emotional connection, usually through couples therapy, the husband will likely begin to feel hopeless that the marriage can change. Hopelessness is very painful and it's toxic for a marriage, increasing the risk of divorce. At the end of the day, each partner needs to feel like what they see and feel matters. Guys, we're going to be just kind of concluding today's episode here on a few of these points. And I just want you guys to kind of run through this with me, okay? So let's take a look. Let's summarize right here. We have 2 articles, okay? One of them say why women initiate divorce, and the other one says why men initiate divorce. On the women's side, women initiate divorce because they feel held back. They're apparently doing more emotional labor than the man does, whatever the hell that means, and they don't want to tolerate bad behavior from the guy. Now let's compare that, okay? Most specifically, women are more likely to feel held back by the marriage. Now let's compare that to the reasons why men leave, okay? Beyond the fact that they can be taken for all their possessions and children and stuff like that, which aren't mentioned in this article. Men don't feel appreciated. The wives are often stealing the dude's money and spending it. The girls cheat. They don't have anything common. I would change this to the girls hide who they really are until they get the commitment. The women make them feel inadequate. The girls withhold bedroom fun. And guys just in general aren't cared about. Guys, I don't know about you, but I see a huge discrepancy between these 2 articles, gentlemen, and I find it absolutely disgusting. And in my opinion, guys, there's absolutely no wonder in my mind as to why men are refusing to get married anymore. Gentlemen, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, make sure you leave your thoughts and your comments, gentlemen. It's always interesting to see what you guys have to say. And as always, guys, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you boys in the next episode. Peace.